You talked about the first you heard about climate change.
81 was when I first heard that as a concept. Someone had, mentioned that in my film I shot in 1989, we had a section where a guy's going on about climate change, well, global warming and, all that, which in the 80s was a conspiracy theory. If you remember, didn't seem to have a lot of science, or at least it wasn't a mainstream idea. It was kind of from the margins.
We've been on Mars since '62. It was May 22nd. That's a very important date for you to remember, pal.
Yeah, it's my birthday.
Right, so, see, the reason we're up there covertly is because of the greenhouse effect. It all ties in. Yeah, greenhouse effect, By the way, they discovered that in the 40s. You can ask yourself what they've been doing, sitting on their ass for 49 years, huh? While we're out here with some serious social diseases and everything else. Well, never mind that. But everybody says, greenhouse effect 100 years from now. I'll be long dead, gone, out of here. Not so, my friend, not so. No, government's setting on the fact that it's 10 to 20 years maximum. It's getting hotter, don't you think? Yeah, it's not even summer yet. Yeah, and when the polar ice caps begin to melt, it's not going to take a certified genius to understand we're in serious global confusion. I mean, really, we're in massive mainline ecological chaos. Anyway, it's happening even as we speak. So, I'll tell you what they've already done. They've colonized outer space. Oh, they couldn't colonize everybody. No. That'd be global bankruptcy. And we couldn't beat the greenhouse effect anyway. This secret group, the group that's in charge of the government. Oh, yeah. They're going to get boosted off this rock before it melts. And the rest of us, what do they care? We're going to be left here to fry.
I'm just explaining the context of 80s conspiracy. No, just there it is in your head. So it's kind of, that's an interesting concept. If that could happen, surely that would wreak havoc. So. But the first I heard of it was 81. It was a college friend, and I think he was speaking of it in terms of nuclear catastrophe might change the climate in such a way that if you had that melting, raise the sea levels, what it would do to the sea levels, coastal areas, and just the havoc would be wreaked. This is kind of a conspiracy thing, but as time went on, to see more and more data come in, and then you really get to the root of it, and you realize, we're changing the atmosphere with everything we do. And then when you point more specifically and you see the rainforest as the key, to the Earth's kind of, ecosystem. I always love that analogy that rainforest is our lungs, So we've already cut out a certain percentage of our lungs, and we keep cutting out more of our lungs. We need the rainforest for our climate. So when you get to that, it gets real serious, But science and the times have caught up with the reality, caught up with the conspiracy. Some things start off conspiracy and actually go away because they're ridiculous, and then some things kind of, okay, there was something there, and here's the facts behind it. Once you diagnose the problem, you actually can do something about it. So that's what I admire about, Rainforest Partnership, is actually trying to get to the answers and the solutions.
So why rainforests? Why? Because you've cared about rainforests way before Rainforest Partnership was created. It's
weird. They're kind of, I think rainforests are mysterious places for people. As a vegetarian and someone who sees the animal agriculture industry as one of the huge destroyers of the rainforests and our climate also. That's a big contributor. So I just see the rainforest under attack, and it really comes down to the conditions of the indigenous people, what their lives are like, and what their economies are and what, you see as economic demands are the kind of the root of all of this.
And you've taken personal action, obviously. The fact that you're a vegetarian and very aware.
Well, I think that's the least people can do. That's just a start. Change your light bulbs, get a Prius or whatever, worry about your thing, but then also don't contribute to the major industries that are leading this awful deforestation. There's certain things that once you really know, okay, this is a problem and I can't contribute to it. Once that really gets into your thinking, and that's politically, that's ethically, that's just, we go through our lives like this and we all have blind spots, and it's just because we're just not aware. But once you do become aware in certain areas, you just have to do what you can. I think everybody has to just do their part wherever they find themselves, wherever they're coming from, whatever their abilities, so. But I do admire, people like you who are all in and making it their life's work. That's, how can you not respond to that? You can see these shifts, people go through centuries being one way, and then there's just these changes in the mentality of the world. For one example, say the notion of slavery. In a fairly short amount of time, worldwide, in let's say 100-year period, that kind of went away.
Right.
In one generation, everyone can go from, oh, that's just how it's always been.
Yeah.
The choices we're making, and to, that's just not the way that's going to work. That's not good for the people. It's not good for the planet. It's not good for anything. So let's just not think that way or support that anymore. So, you got to take these issues one at a time. But I think when it comes to climate change, we're in that resistance. The battle lines are kind of drawn. And to me, it's like that line is right through the rainforest is right kind of the battleground, in my opinion. So
we came up with this idea for Films for the Forest. How do you think that allows people to be involved?
As a filmmaker, I'm always excited about just the power of film. You grow up in the suburbs or somewhere, you've never been to a rainforest, but you watch a film from Mexico, India, Brazil, and suddenly you're in a forest. You're hanging out with people there. It's so basic, a great transference of information and see how people live and to be there viscerally. So I just love the idea of these films from around the world dealing with forests, just to get a sense of people's lives. It's a great communication, that goes from the filmmakers in their region or whatever their angle is to, an audience. So it's pretty powerful thing. We're all kind of products of everything we've taken in, not only in our own lives, but the art we consume. That's why it's very important what books you read, what films you watch, what music you listen. It's all important. You're curating your own consciousness.
If you're encouraging people, you personally, as a judge, what kind of films would you want people to make and submit?
I think the passion always, I would hesitate to tell them what form it should take. It should take whatever, film can be anything. It should take whatever form they think conveys the story of what they want to communicate. And if what they want to communicate is something personal to them, something they know from their own neck of the woods, I think the ones that do well are the personal ones. Just feel like they really know their subject, and you feel like you really connect with the people or the situation. Usually but there's no one, I don't think there's any one thing that I would suggest other than just tell your story, tell your subject, and you can feel the passion kind of come through the film. So that's what's exciting.